Welcome back, nerds. We're the 12-sided guys. Was that too mean?
No, I love it.
That might have been a little bit too mean. Listeners, we love you. We love you. We're still waiting to hear on what you want our name to be. We have Matt as Pine, a man who, if he had a magazine collection, it would be a stack of vintage Playboys, but just for the articles.
Yeah, I mean, choosing the right humidor or how a trilby is more than just a poor man's fedora, those kinds of articles, yeah.
Scott as Rousse, who would definitely have subscriptions to Esquire and Vogue.
That's me.
Jordan playing Ebby with a stack of National Geographic and nature magazines that he hasn't read yet based on his nature roles. He's too busy reading Boy's Life.
I feel like that's like suggestive of something, and I don't know what. Salutations? Question mark?
If anyone can tell me what Boy's Life, the magazine, is, well, I guess you guys can all Google it. It's the Boy Scout magazine. Anyway, Sabrina playing Nari, a woman with a muscle and fitness subscription and definitely more than one Bud K catalog.
Hey there.
I loved Bud K. I loved the Bud K catalog.
I did too.
And me, Paul, just over here with my Victoria's Secrets catalog. Okay, so it's a JCPenney's catalog. Anyway.
Oh, sad.
Thanks for coming along with us as we adventure through Pavantis, and thank you to everyone who has rated, reviewed, and recommended us to friends and family. It means a lot. If you want to chat with players and fans, you can become a member of our Discord. The link is in the description. And you can also come and meet us at FanX this year in Salt Lake City, September 22nd to the 24th, 2022. There may even be karaoke one night. Lastly, don't forget that we have a Patreon at patreon.com/12sided guys. Patrons get access to more content, including bonus episodes, character sheets, maps, and a wiki to keep things straight. Foxboy McStuffins recently became a patron, and wait. Foxboy McStuffins? I know Foxboy. Nari and the boys had a run-in with him back in episode 15, Twilight River Cruise. Braff, is this you? Are you trying to get into our good graces after you cut the lines on the riverboat and left Nari and the boys to the mercy of the Imperial patrols? Well, my friend, if you think we'll just forgive you for all you've done because you became a patron, well, you're totally right. All is forgiven. And thank you for supporting us. That's now canon. Anyway, if you ever visited the baths in the village of Ismet and caught a peeping Tom, then this podcast is for you. It's the Crystal Codex, episode 73.
I don't know that one.
I actually started playing this game again today because I remember thinking as a kid, I love this game so much. It has to have some kind of staying power. And I'm surprisingly enjoying it.
What is it?
It's Dragon Warrior 4. Well, welcome back to Pavantis and welcome back to the city of Marlek. We join Nari and the boys in this city after a flight in their airship, the Allele Eagle, from Arkelvy down to this beautiful sort of Mediterranean-esque city called Marlek. It is dominated on the east side by this massive fortress that kind of sits on top its own island called the Bastion of Marlek. And there is a skyport. There is on the western side of the city, there's a cliff, and there is this Temple of the Stars. But our heroes docked the Allele Eagle at the skyport, made a friend who ended up robbing them, and they didn't realize it. And then they went down to the Temple of Lord Laremi.
It's only robbery if there's violence or threat of violence.
Would it be burglary then, or just conning?
I think we were conned.
Yeah, I think we were definitely conned.
You guys were conned a little bit. Well, he was skimming off the top, you know. So the docking fees were 10 gold pieces, and you guys had to pay 20, but whatever, it's all good.
Skimming off the top, that's more just kind of like 50-50.
Straight up.
You made your way to the Temple of Lord Laremi, where after a couple of interactions with the Master Saman, who runs the temple, Rousse and Master Saman went down into the basement of the temple and had a private conversation where Master Saman revealed to Rousse, after Rousse revealed he had these cursed blades, that Master Simon was aware of who and what Lord Laremi was, but he chose to continue his worship of Lord Laremi for two reasons. One, to help the adherents of the Lord of Swords, as well as to appease the Lord of Swords, this demonic or infernal being, as Rousse and Simon were working to rid Rousse of this curse of these swords. Back upstairs, Pine had a run-in with a young man who claimed to have been trained by the blossoming storm of the western sky himself. This young man, Tristan, then challenged Pine to a battle, and Pine destroyed him, like decimated him. Like it was amazing.
Thank you.
And Pine revealed to this man, Tristan, that he was indeed the previous blossoming storm of the western sky. And as I recall, that the new blossoming of storm of the western sky should not have that title because he did not take it from Pine. Back down in the basement, Rousse and Simon went for it, and they took one of these swords out of the box, attempted to put it into this statue dedicated to Lord Laremi with an open hand, waiting for the blade. And as they did so, the sword overcame Master Simon, and Rousse had to help him, first trying to shove the blade, the handle into the hand of this statue. And then when that didn't work, Rousse had to take the sword himself, and after a 21 wisdom save, was able to put the sword in the hand of this statue, and half of the curse was lifted from Rousse. And that is where we left off last time. So here we are, still in the temple of Lord Laremi. We have Nari, Ebby, and Pine upstairs. Pine is reveling in his victory. And downstairs, Rousse and Master Simon are catching their breath after a quite harrowing ordeal.
Man, I was just going to say, though, if Ebby were to walk down the stairs right now and catch them, we're like, oh, man, that wrestling with our swords, man. Oh, that was exhausting.
Breathing heavily. What in the world is going on down here?
When I couldn't handle my sword on my own and you had to come help me with it? Oh, man.
Rousse is like, I feel so relieved.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so down in the basement, as Master Simon kind of sits up and collects himself, kind of wipes his brow a bit. Rousse, you are standing there next to the statue. You can see, I think the way I described it last time is just some of the edges of the carving of the statue have just the slightest little glint of red on them. And in your hand, somehow you ended up with the broken sword that was in the statue's hand originally. And that is where we are at with Rousse and Master Simon. Master Simon sits up and says to Rousse, I'm going to need to gather my strength. I appreciate your help in placing that sword. I would appreciate if you could stick around to help me again should I be overcome. You may want to let your friends know that this might take some time.
Okay. How much time do you need to rest?
Hours. It's not so much rest, it's gathering my conviction and my willpower to attempt that again.
I'll be right back down.
He looks at the box and he says, actually, I'll come up with you. Until these blades are placed, let's just stay together. You and Master Simon head up to the first floor. And as you guys get up there, you can see that this fight that was going on has wrapped up. You can see that Tristan, the buff guy with the two-handed sword that Pine decimated, as well as his yes man, Harvid, are going over, gathering their things. It looks like they are going to be leaving the temple, a little bit tail between their legs, as they were soundly defeated by a 76-year-old swordsman.
But that wouldn't be Pine's intention. Pine,
no.
So actually, I was going to say, if in the time when we were down there with Rousse, Pine would actually be offering pointers if Tristan's willing to listen.
Tristan is willing to listen. You sense that he is very sincere in his desire to be a better swordsman. You can tell that his pride is definitely wounded, but he is listening. Some of what you're saying doesn't quite carry over because you fight, one-handed with an elegant thin blade, and he has a big, huge, like I'm thinking like a flamberge, however you say that, with like the little spikes, that come out right by the handle, and everything is just like this big, beefy.
The wavy blade.
Like this is just like a big, beefy, like Germanic blade. But yeah, he's listening and he's taking pointers. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would talk with him, talk through the different, techniques that technically do transfer.
Yeah, one thing that he was going to do that you can't do is he was going to try to parry your blow until you rolled a natural 20. As you guys are cleaning up, you see Rousse and Master Salmon.
You should just tell him to roll better.
Well, he tried to kick sand in your eyes. That was going to be a big one with the blindness. But anyway, you see Master Salmon as well as Rousse come up from the stairway.
Well, you two look exhausted. What have you been doing down there?
I'm struggling with some swords.
Kinky.
At least you didn't get cursed with like some cursed polished rods.
Jeez.
Yes.
Could always be worse,
Seeing Rousse come back up, Pine will shout over there, like, Rousse, is it done?
We're about halfway there.
You're living on a prayer?
I understand. Say no more. And then I'll go back to Tristan.
Friend, is there anything that you need? Anything I can help with?
I appreciate that. I will probably need to be here most of the rest of today.
Then so shall I.
Okay.
Is everybody else just going to stay out there too then?
I'll stay as long as Tristan is interested in learning. This is the first chance I think that Pine has had to be an instructor since he taught he was coaching his son, Leon, and their family. So he's liking this being a teacher.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right. Yeah. Then you guys can stay and hang out. What's Nari going to do? There is some very fancy shops just up the street. There's also a beach. There is other temples to go check out. There's other places to see. Or you guys can all wait and do that together. Either way is fine by me.
I think Nari's going to stay with Rousse. I don't think she fully trusts this temple priest, and she just kind of wants to make sure that whatever happens is going to go smoothly, and she's a little bit concerned that Lord Laremi and maybe his servants are not as trusted or should not be as trusted as maybe some of the other religious folks.
I gotta just say, Paul, everybody, I love this meathead looking token guy.
It's really cool.
Who's like, hey, I love him.
Dude, he's solid.
Yeah, that guy is a normal man.
I don't know if normal is what I would call that.
He does look like he's about to shotgun a beer, is kind of what he looks like.
Did I just impress Evangeline Lilly with my swordsmanship?
Yeah, wait, I missed this person. Hello, hi.
That is Random Woman. And that is actually what's that website that you sent me to that does like the AI portraits?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what that was. I have no clue. Somebody else made it, and I just like, that's an actual. That one looks like a real person. I will then steal that one as a token. So,
Yes. Well, hi.
Nari starts putting the moves on, and we are going to head back downstairs then with Rousse and Master Salmon.
Was Ebby going down there too?
No, I don't think Ebby's going. Well,
Master Salmon asks you not to. This is a sacred place in the temple.
Yeah, I kind of figured. That makes sense.
In that case, Nari is 100% going over to Random Woman.
You should duel her.
You don't duel with axes here. That would be an affront to Lord Laremi.
Heaven forbid we offend a dead devil.
I think I'm going to go with, what's up?
Well, why don't you make a persuasion check or a flirt check? I don't know.
Oh, heck. I'm not very good at persuasion. Oh, my gosh. I rolled a 6.
You go over there, you start talking to her, and at first she seems kind of interested. Then she starts looking, like at your waist, and then she's looking. Then she notices that you don't have a sword, and then she notices that on your back you have an axe, and instantly she loses interest.
Oh, it's like you go try to have a conversation with her, and she's just like swords, 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 swords.
Pointy, pointy, stabby.
I like swords, swords. Some people say swords. Back downstairs in the locked and kind of hidden secret shrine to the true aspect of Lord Laremi, we have Rousse as well as Master Seaman. Master Seaman takes up his spot in front of the box again, and he sits there in almost like a contemplative praying position. Rousse, is there anything that you would be doing now, talking to him or anything, or preparing yourself in case something goes wrong again?
Rousse is actually going to offer a prayer to Laremi as well.
Okay. What do you say?
So Rousse will say...
Sorry, you're dead.
Basically. I'm not sure what the afterlife looks like for the gods, but if you can hear this, I still mean to keep my promise on fulfilling your goal of preventing inevitability. But I can't do it with your swords.
I love that you're like, I don't know what the afterlife looks like for the gods. That kind of implies that you know what happens after we die. When normal people die, oh yeah, but the gods, who knows?
Yeah. You are kind of saying this prayer. Master Seaman is collecting himself. He starts to do his kind of heavier breathing, his preparing himself for what very well may be the hardest thing he will ever do in his entire life. And he looks over at you, Rousse. This is now after about an hour and a half or 2 hours of just preparing himself mentally. And he nods. And he quickly reaches down, throws open the box, grabs the sword, this time does not bother closing the box, stands up, goes to the statue, pulls the sword that's in the other hand of the statue, and tosses it aside as he, with a natural 19 this time, places the second sword of Lord Laremi into the statue's open hand, steps back, and breathes a very heavy sigh, and says,
Nice.
"It is done."
You did really good that time.
His power was overwhelming. You say he's dead.
I don't know what happens when the gods die, but I did watch him get murdered by the angel of inevitability.
He looks at you kind of intensely, and he says, "Well, Rousse, that is a story that I would love to hear. And I believe it's probably a story that deserves to be enshrined here. Why don't you make a perception check again, Rousse?"
Got a 19 that time.
19. As you glance around the room, you can see that the candles have burned low. It's a little bit darker in here. You look back at the statue behind you, and now, last time your perception, I think, was like a 30 or something like that. With a 19,
Yeah.
it's still pretty obvious. This statue that I kept describing as onyx or like black marble or something, it is now veined with red. If you want to make an insight check, you can.
Yes, please.
Or we can leave it at that.
26 insight.
You don't know what happens to the lords and ladies after they die, and you don't know what happens to demons or devils or infernal things after they die. You know that Lord Laremi is some sort of infernal being. And you also now know that as long as these two swords are here, that there is some power of Lord Laremi back in the world.
Well, Simon, I appreciate what you've done for me today. If telling this story in any way helps repay this debt that I now owe you, I would gladly do it. I'm only here for one night, though. I could tell it to you in person, but I don't know that I'd be able to write the whole thing down.
He puts his hand on your shoulder and he says, another time then. When you are back through, come visit me here and we'll document what happened today and the story of these swords. Then he leads you out of this secret shrine.
In the event that I'm not able to make it back through, go to the Library of Lord Cadriel in Arkelvy, and in the hidden library, you may find some of the answers to my story.
I don't know what any of that means, but I will. I'll look into it. He actually, as you are leaving, he picks up the box, this lead-lined box, and he hands it back to you. He says, "These are yours."
Thanks.
All right, and then you go back up to the first floor. You can see Nari looking a little bit dejected. You can see Pine is now going through forms and different stances with Tristan, and Tristan actually is using a different sword, and he's got a little bit smaller sword. He's kind of like trying that out and seeing if maybe that fits better for him.
I'm gonna be honest, this place sucks.
Pine is like, I may vacation, I may retire here. This is amazing.
I feel a little bit offended by that, because if you actually look at the temple and you look at the top-down view, does anybody see the hidden picture in it?
Yeah, it's a sword with a hilt and everything.
Yay, you saw it. It's a sword.
That doesn't make it not suck, though. I mean, they're just talking about axes and then not appreciating when a fine woman comes up and talks to them. I'm an alpha woman.
You guys see Rousse come up from the basement, and he looks different. I imagine some sort of a weight is off his shoulders that you may not have even realized was there, but now that it's gone, like for good, you can see that he is a changed man.
Seeing Rousse come up, Pine will say to Tristan, unfortunately, this is where my training of you ends, but if you're looking for a sword master, Tabery, the captain of the Angel's Might, she could train you.
Havid, write that down. And then the little wiener guy is like, oh, yeah, sure thing, boss, sure thing. And he starts writing down. Very good. Okay.
You may have to join her crew, though.
Rousse, you look better.
I feel lighter.
I mean, I didn't say you looked lighter, but happy to hear that.
Yeah, your girdle's not really hiding the weight right now.
That vest doesn't do much for you, bud.
That's straight out of The Boys season 3. I've been watching The Boys season 3. That's a Homelander thing.
Season 3's been pretty intense.
Rousse, you look and Master Seaman, thank you for all your help.
He gives you the soldier's handshake, the predator handshake, and he says, "You're always welcome back at the temple of Lord Laremi."
Oh, I will be back.
And then he looks at Rousse and he goes, "And I appreciate what you have done for us."
I'm glad that this has come to a better conclusion than I expected. I don't know that I'll be back to the temple outside of that one time that I've got to tell you the story.
he nods. Except for that one time, and then this time explaining that time. Then otherwise I won't be back. Very cool. All right, you guys exit the temple of Lord Laremi. You are in Celeste Square. Celeste is actually the name of the Empress of the Almerian Empire. And this square is still called Celeste's Square. As you step out, the sun is, it's past noon. It's actually heading down towards the horizon. It's probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon at this point. Still plenty of day left to go and explore the city or do whatever it is you guys want to do. If you are still planning on staying here for one more night, we can talk about that. Or if you guys want to go shopping, or if you guys want to go to the beach.
Well, Rousse, it's your day. What are you in the mood for?
I don't want to do anything too heavy because I feel like that was a little draining on me. I might want to see if there's a bathhouse or maybe just go to the beach. I'd like to show you guys Bastion. We'll be able to see it from the beach.
we could tan our cheeks. That seems like it would be a lot of fun.
What is that?
Well, Abby, you just, you put on a bathing suit and then you go lay in the sun and you just get tan.
Yeah, you know how like you rust when you get wet and then it like dries?
You have clothes at the beaches here?
Yeah, that's definitely different than men arrest.
Mostly it's just the old people who go and it's just leather as far as the eye can see.
Sun dried and stretched.
I believe that, Pine. I believe that.
I think that sounds like a wonderful idea. Let's go see the beach. Take a look at the bastion. Maybe we'll find a bathhouse afterwards to wash off the sand and salt.
Well, yes, usually after you go on the beach, you have to wash out your cracks and stuff.
Oh, the crevices.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yes, Nari will kind of look at Pine and say, all the folds and such.
The older you get, the more crevices you get.
Words of wisdom, my friend.
What a horrifying proposition.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and if you don't take care of it, you get a rash. It just like rubs and like eventually it just can just rub the skin raw. I love the beach.
And people seek this out. They travel for this.
Oh, hell yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
You guys start heading through the city. You guys head to the northeast, kind of along some of these nicely paved and well-marked roads, past buildings and houses and stores. You go past another couple of, another church, a smaller one. When you guys were coming in, I described a couple of churches, a couple of temples, kind of more on the western side of the building or of the city that were kind of up on top of this cliff. There are a couple other churches here, including the Temple of Lord Laremi that you guys were just at, that are a little bit smaller. They don't show up from the sky like those other two temples did. But as you guys are heading towards the gate for the beach, you actually walk right past another temple. That instantly, Pine, you recognize the symbol for this deity. This is an eye, like an eyeball, and this would be the symbol of Lord Astraman, who is the Lord of Judgment and Law, one of the prime deities of Menarest, of the six deities that they worship. Lord Astraman was one of those.
Lemony Snicket.
Again with the eye. If you look closely, that eye says Lord Astraman in fancy script.
If any of our fans can make that happen, my hat's off to you. As you guys go past there through like this market, you can see the gate that you have to go through to get to the beach. So while you're here at the market, is there anything anybody wants to buy before we move on?
Now, Nari, explain this bathing suit. Can we buy one here?
Well, I'll be honest. I've never been this far south in vacation mode, but my understanding is that you put on as small of clothing as is appropriate, and then you sit in sand and you hope none of it gets in your crevices.
You could just wear your small clothes.
Yeah, you can just wear your underwear or whatever.
Or less. Yes.
Less it is.
Don't let anyone tell you have to wear more.
Okay. What's the fashion here in Marlek? Like, if we're passing by fancy places, like Pine would maybe be interested in just picking up like a beret or something.
Right. Well, you actually went the other way to get to the beach. So the fancier stores and like the big fancy inn is actually more on the west side. And so when you guys left the temple, you guys went through like more like normal town, and they wear light, kind of puffy, usually bright colored shirts, like the men and the women do, kind of loose around the collar. They have little strings to tie them up, but they always leave them open. They seem very kind of airy and thin to allow you to stay cool. They do wear tight pants, but not like hose, not like Tristan was wearing underneath his pantaloons. But they do wear tight pants, usually darker colored pants, and then they wear shoes, not boots or anything like that.
And what about the people on the actual beach? What are they wearing?
Oh, what are they wearing? some people would wear like a loincloth, and like maybe like a thin shirt or something. People are from all over. Most people who are here are from Marlek, or at least from the Principality of Dathan. But you get people from other countries as well. And as you are coming, like walking through town, you can see who the foreigners are just by their style of dress. And so you guys stand out because you don't dress the same way as these people do, but you're not uncommon, if that makes sense.
See, look, there's a guy with a sweater vest, just like me.
As he goes and he steals an apple and then gives it to his monkey and then climbs on a roof.
Nari will go find some sort of vendor that will sell her a loincloth bikini.
Nice.
And we'll put that on, and then she will enjoy this beach trip.
Perfect.
Pine is seriously just going to strip naked and say, Ebby, can we put these in the bag?
Yes.
You should have the haversack, right?
Yes, I've got that here.
Yeah, just put those things in there. Okay. All right. And just completely naked.
Right. Yeah, you guys. So before you get naked, because you're still in town, people are still buying their loincloths. You guys leave the city proper out through the gate, and you head down a street called Sandy Way. The street, the cobblestone, as you're walking, you can see that it almost looks like somebody had kicked some sand up onto the cobblestone. And as you keep walking down the road, all of a sudden there's no more cobblestone and it's all sand. And you guys are walking down this sandy path. There are houses and shops and things. There's even an inn here called the Sandcastle. And then you approach the beach, which has some pavilions set up out there. You can see people have towels that are stretched out. People are lounging and laying around. And you can see kids are playing. Kids are they have a shovel and they're digging a hole, and somebody left their doll by the hole.
The doll has the face of the child who was playing with it on it. It stole the baby's face.
That's terrifying.
No.
Oh my god.
And then the child goes away with a face that looks like Ditto from the Pokemon cartoon.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You can also see that part of this beach is used for ships in the water travel, and so you see people being tendered to shore on rowboats and things. People bringing goods and things in from the sea. There's no actual dock here. You actually have to anchor out in the water and then tender things across. So part of it is used for trade and things, and another part is people just enjoying themselves. As you guys get down to the beach,
Rousse says the magic word for his armor, and it transitions into really uncomfortably tight short shorts.
I changed what Pine's going to wear. Pine, no, now that there are kids present, Pine is going to wear old-timey striped swimsuit from the 1910s.
Yes.
Excuse me, is this nameless woman here?
It's her three sisters.
Yeah, I see her here a couple places.
Does she have triplets?
she's random woman temp stamp. Okay, guys, come on.
All right, well, you didn't have to make her so cute.
Oh gosh. As you guys get down here to the beach, you actually see that there's some kids playing. You can see people laying out on towels. You also see there is this guy he's covered in scales. He's got kind of a bronzy, brassy colored scales, and he has found a big rock, and he is just laying with his face and chest just plastered against the rock, just laying on this rock.
He's straight up basking?
He's basking, yes, he is straight up basking. And you guys have this beach here to just enjoy, to go sit in the water, play, or just relax, whatever you guys want to do. There's different people around as well. You can hear kids laughing and playing. You see that there is some locals, and then you also see that there's a couple people who they stand out a bit. They don't fit in, kind of like you guys. You see there's one woman who is kind of tall. Not tall like Nari tall, but maybe 6 feet tall. She's lean. She's got pointed ears, dark brown skin, and black curly hair tied back in a ponytail. And she is just kind of sitting on a towel, just kind of gazing out over the water. You can see there's a family of short, stocky, bearded folk.
Even their 6-year-old girl has a beard.
No, I mean there's like it looks like there's a husband and a wife and maybe 2 kids that are there, and they're also, the kids are playing in the sand, and the husband and wife are talking, and other than that, just some people milling about, and the sun is heading towards the horizon, but there's still plenty of sunlight left to enjoy some time here at the beach.
You guys see the bastion across the way over there?
It looks quite formidable.
That was my thought as well. Yes.
As you look out, I was going to describe it a little bit better because now you guys are seeing it from different perspectives. As you look out kind of across this strait from the beach, you can see to that island that's off the east coast of the main part of the city. You can see now, looking up at it, this island is basically just a cliff face sticking straight up into the air. The cliffs are easily 100 feet off the water. And then on this cliff face, you can see this massive like drum tower that's kind of built out, hanging over the edge, kind of over the water. It looks very, very formidable. You can see that from the tower tops and from the walls, you see these banners are flying that are actually the banner for the Principality of Dathan, which is a kind of a maroon flag with white drops, like raindrops or teardrops on the flag. And that is what you see as Rousse points up to the bastion.
So when I arrested Kira, that's where she was being held, and I scaled that cliff wall with her husband, and we freed her.
I feel very good about you talking about this, Rousse.
That's kind of where my life took a dramatic turn.
And what happened to your friend?
I was never able to find Farron. I haven't seen him in well over 5 years, 6 years. It's been quite a while.
Do you think he might still be alive?
I don't know. We weren't officially together the last time we spoke.
That doesn't have anything to do with him being alive.
Yeah, sorry. I looked for him, but I wasn't able to find him. And I didn't really pursue my contacts with the Howling Talon to see if he still worked there. But the last I knew, he was still a member of the Howling Talon.
Where's the Howling Talon based out of?
They're based out of Bear, sir. They have a field office here. And in many of the major cities, they have offices where they will receive contracts.
Is it worth maybe just popping in and checking in to see?
I haven't been in to speak with them in 5 years, and I don't know that I would be received well.
You're assuming that they would know you or remember you.
Ouch. I remembered you.
You're right. I think the majority of them wouldn't, but I fear that my old employer still works there, and if he hears that I was looking around, he might come and look for me again. I don't know.
What if one of us asked for you?
We can poke our heads in and ask.
It's decided. I'll do it. Excuse me. Do you have somebody working here who used to date a boy named Rousse?
His name is Farron, and he is my son. Jesus, let's come up with a better lie.
He doesn't have my ears, though. We adopted him.
Yes. My adopted son, Farron, whom I love.
Ooh, that's getting a little... Then I need to know a lot of personal details. I could just say, I'm looking for Farron. He's employed by the Howling Talon. Last our records show. And if they ask what I need to talk to him about, I can say, it's a personal financial matter that I can only discuss with Farron.
An uncle recently passed away, and he's inheriting a lot of money.
Oh, no. He's deep in debt.
Crippling debt.
Crippling debt.
What was he thinking getting those 3 degrees?
While these boys are talking, Nari is spreading out her towel to just kind of get some sun on her belly.
On his salary, there's no way he could afford that jet ski.
Okay, Pine, why don't you make an insight check, Pine. And Rousse, you can make one as well, as you guys are talking about this.
All right, Pine's insight is a 2. It's natural 2.
Nice.
I think this will work.
Rousse got a 19.
Pine, you really do think, you know what? You think this has a pretty good shot of working. Rousse, you like the idea. I mean, I think you see the potential in the idea, but then you also realize that these guys who work for Howling Talon are a lot like you. They are trained to look through and see the bull honky for what it is. They deal with criminals and people who are on the run, and they deal with liars, and they are really good about figuring out who's lying. So not that this plan won't work, but you have that insight into the kind of people who work for Howling Talon.
I think honesty would be our best bet. I'm fairly confident that they'll see through any sort of ruse that we might try to pull over them.
Plus, I just remembered that I don't think jet skis exist in this world.
Yeah, you said the word, and I just didn't understand what you were talking about.
It just came out. I was thinking, like...
We're on the beach and all. Like, I don't know. Like, it seemed a reasonable idea.
But you ski in the mountains.
Yes, I was thinking of, like, skis made out of the stone jet.
I thought he was talking about, like, a jetty. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Joan jet?
I do love rock and roll.
Once again, everyone is slightly concerned that Pine is having a stroke. Nari, you have gone and laid out your towel here on the beach. And I don't know if you meant to or not, but you end up a little bit close to this thin, tall woman with the pointed ears, the dark brown skin, and the curly black hair tied back in a ponytail, who is gazing out over the ocean. She kind of looks over at you, and then she looks back out at the ocean. She says, "It's peaceful here."
I absolutely agree. Very much the opposite of where I came from.
She nods and she says, Me too.
Oh, really? Where do you hail from?
She says, "Do you know of the city Kiewicz?" And you would probably know Kiewicz is a city in the country of Ladrithel, which is far to the north. And it is a coastal city, but Kiewicz, back in the days of the Empire, it was kind of where the Empire stopped on their progress acquiring new territory. Kiewicz was one of the potential next targets for Imperial spread. But you would know also that Ladrithel itself is a country that's very rugged, lots of forest, and Ebby actually had some experiences up there in the forests of Ladrithel as well. But yeah, that's where she is from. And she says, "How about you? Where are you from?" "Not from here, I can tell."
No. I've heard of such things as where you're from, but I've never been that far north. I'm from the Glass Mountains myself.
She nods and she says, "Rugged lands make for rugged people, strong people. You seem strong."
I would like to think so, yes.
Oh. Is she flirting with you?
What's up?
She's like, "Do you miss your home?"
I do. I miss aspects of my home. I miss my family. And I miss the mountains and the peacefulness there. But I've also never felt sand between my toes and a warm ocean before. So I don't know. I'm not sure that I can say that I've missed anything when there's so much change around me.
She nods and she says, "I agree completely. I miss my home as well, but I missed it before I left." I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes absolute sense. What brought you so far south besides this gorgeous beach?
I had to get away. It was. Then she turns and she looks at you, and you can, even without like an insight or perception check, you can kind of see just with your passive perception, there's a slightly haunted look to her. Not like, "I've seen a ghost," not like that. Not like the librarian from Ghostbusters or something like that.
A ghost? Pine gets out of the water.
And all of a sudden Hop's here and he goes, zoinks. She says, Ladrathel it's not the same. It's changing. It's becoming more wild. Even in the city, it's not safe there anymore. I miss my home because my home is not how it used to be.
Not safe.
The forest, they push against every boundary. Where before the forest would end, now we have to go and cut it back every season because it continues to push and spread. And if we are not diligent, then it will start to overtake our cities. And even Kiewicz is managing to keep it at bay for now, but I grew tired of living in fear of the forest.
Do you know what's causing this overgrowth? Is it a god? Is it the forest itself?
I don't know. And she looks at you again and she says, the forest in Ladrathel is angry. What's everybody else doing?
So Ebby, we're at the beach, all right. Ebby is not.
Yeah, you're all
Ebby's
there.
not in a swimsuit or anything like that. He is just standing on the beach awkwardly, unwilling to sit down because he doesn't want to get sand in his crevices. Wearing his normal traveling clothing, but still has his disguise up. Just kind of looking around awkwardly.
Why don't you make a perception check or an insight check?
Oakley dokley. Let's do perception. 23.
With your 23 perception, you're not trying to eavesdrop, but there's that family of not dwarves. And there is like the man and the woman, they're talking, the kids are playing. And at one point you can hear the man, his voice rises a little bit and he says, I'm telling you, my brother said the house is gone. The lava flows, they're out of control. And then the woman says, quiet, you'll scare the children. And then he hushes his voice again and then they start talking again.
Interesting. Ebby's going to chime up or move just a little bit closer and will say, pardon the intrusion, but I heard something about lava flow. If you don't mind me asking, where is this occurring?
The woman kind of looks at you and she kind of puts her finger up to her lips and shh, shh, shh. And the man kind of hushes you down. And then he waves you over kind of away from the water, away from the kids. And as he brings you over to a little bit quieter place, he says, sorry, we don't want the kids to be worried, but Gildazan, our home, that's where we're from. There were a fissure opened up and part of the city actually fell into the lava flow.
Good heavens.
Hundreds of people have died.
When did this happen?
I received a sending from my brother just this morning. And Gildazan, you would know, it's called the Free City of Gildazan. Gildazan is further east. It is a city in the mountains. And actually, I think this has come up before in the podcast. You guys have actually gained this information, I think, from Gerard a long time ago, possibly. Gildazan and Valkanar, they're both called, one's the Free City of Valkanar, Free City of Gildazan. They're similar. They're like underground cities. I think Gildazan is not quite completely underground. I think part of it is above ground. Basically, these were cities that don't belong to any nation, and they mine and they make jewelry and weaponry and that kind of thing. They're your kind of classic dwarven city, but it's not just like dwarves who live there.
They eat red meat on the bone.
Yeah, exactly. Malt beer. Gildazan is a very wealthy, prosperous city built underground for the most part. And it sounds like part of it has been affected by some kind of a earthquake or something. And a lava flow has opened up and swallowed part of the city. And then the man says, apparently our home was part of the city that was lost. I just thank the lords and ladies that we were here and not there. I am trying to stay positive. We're alive. My wife she's having a hard time.
This is a great strategy when you and your wife are disagreeing, is invite a stranger into your argument.
Yes, a classic strategy.
I appreciate you letting me know. I had no idea that such things were happening.
I did not know either until this morning. So now we have to decide where we're going to go. I think we'll stay here for a while. And then he wanders back over to his family.
So Pine was in the water, but like that old timey swimsuit is just getting like all full of water and stuff. He basically is going to pull it down on the top so that he like ties around his waist. So it's basically, and he rolls up the legs. So he's basically wearing, trunks at this point, but he'll have wandered over to the little kids by the hole they're digging and he'll say,
"Oh my God, half naked?"
No, wearing swim trunks.
Wearing swim trunks. But he'll say, "That's a good hole you're digging there. Are you planning to bury that doll? I recommend you do. It's definitely following one of you home to try to kill you later."
That is the creepiest doll I've ever seen.
One of the girls says, "Hey, that's my doll." And then the boy's like, "I'm going to bury it." Like, "No, you're not." "Yes, I am. I'm going to bury your doll. Let's bury it." And then they start to like fight and stuff. It looks like they were digging the hole to actually bury one of them, like up to their neck. You know how kids do at the beach. But yeah.
That's Pine. That's what Pine's doing.
All right. Anything else anybody wants to do at the beach as the sun begins to set?
No, I think or at least for Nari, I think she'll actually kind of like be like, "Oh, well, it was great chatting with you," and then go back and kind of share the concerns about the northern forest with everyone else.
Perfect. Ebby, how does Ebby feel about that?
Northern forests, I think I don't know that he would share this with the group, but immediately he's like, of course the northern forests would be growing more wild and more unstable. I can feel that fear growing around all of nature, and Lord Moshe is driving it.
Do we notice anything weird about Ebby, or is he just like, yes, cool?
So since you don't want to share it, even though you're not actively lying, Ebby, why don't you make a deception check, and anybody else can do insight if they want to.
Yeah, let's do that. A 16 on deception.
Pine is not insightful at all. He rolled a 3.
Yeah, Nari rolled a 14, so.
Rousse got a 25.
I could say this. I think upon hearing this, I bet Rousse would notice that Ebby kind of looks a little bit distant, kind of lost in thought, and he probably sees that his left hand is kind of like, it's kind of bouncing at his side, like anxiously kind of like bouncing, and the fingers are flexing a little bit. Like he just seems a little on edge.
So Ebby, we've had some rough things going on lately with those Ormacs and that bishop that sacrificed himself, but you holding up okay?
I'm fine. It's fine. There's just, I feel like we're running out of time, but I don't know what we need to be doing. Things are growing unstable.
I agree. I think we need to get to Almar as soon as we can.
I agree, although I don't know what we'll find there.
I think we have a couple leads, but I'm wondering if we just leave tonight. I mean, after, of course, washing the sand and salt out of our crevices.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
As one does, yes.
Well, I mean, the point of my comment was maybe this has been enough of a break for us. It's been nice to kind of forget and enjoy a day at the beach and see a new city, but you're right. Our duty's pressing us onward.
Nothing like a literal half day at the beach after breaking someone from a curse to really relax you deeply.
Yes. And Pine, there might be something I can do to help. Ebby uses the mold earth cantrip to try to pull all the dirt out of his crevices all at once.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. They're just like this of sand, and then there's also like this dust in the air, just kind of like it just instantly poofs out of Pine's skin. It works. It works really well.
Oh God, the smell.
That's amazing.
The smell? Oh, yeah, I smell it now, yes. Whoops.
So then what is the plan?
Rousse, do we need to get you replacement weapons?
I've got this chakram that I can use.
As you say that, Rousse, you also realize that you still have the sword handle. in your hand from the statue. Not in your hand, I guess. You just kind of tucked it into your pouch.
I guess I've got this broken hilt too. No, I should be okay with the chakram for now.
Do you feel like that's enough to get us back on the ship?
Yeah, I think we should get moving.
You guys clean up. I imagine the mold earth cantrip cleans everybody else off. And you make your way as the sun is setting. You make your way back to the skyport, this tower that shoots up into the sky with these big long piers that jut out over the city. And you can see, as you're approaching, you can see the Allele Eagle tethered to one of those piers. As you enter the tower and ride the lift up, I would imagine some sense of reality is coming back to everybody. That little bit of time at the beach, sparring at the temple, even freeing yourself from that curse. I would imagine that was a little bit kind of nice to forget some of these troubles that have been pushing you along. And now as you are riding the lift back up to the dock where the Allele Eagle is, I imagine that you realize that it's time to get your game face back on. You get back up to the level of the Allele Eagle, and you can see the ship tied off, and you know that if you wanted to leave, you can just untie and sail away right now.
To the southwest.
Let's do it. Yes.
Onward.
You get on the Allele Eagle, you untie yourselves, and you show your documents to the workers there, and they let you on your ship, and you untie yourselves.
They try to get more gold from us.
No, they did not try to get more gold from you. That guy is not here. I mean, that guy's like loaded from all of the scams he pulls. He doesn't work late hours. The Allele Eagle pulls away from the pier and starts to head southwest towards the city of Almar. You know from previous trips that to get from Marlek to Almar is going to be just a little over 3 days of travel via airship. As you are flying from Marlek to Almar, you know that the majority of it is actually going to be flying over the Almarian Sea. You will be over water a big chunk of the time. Is there anything anybody wants to do before you guys get to Almar? Any talking or conversation you want to have?
I did want to remind everybody that there was an Ormec facility in the mountains west of Kalta, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. That facility may be interesting.
If nothing else, we might, see if we can pass over and send in some of these liberators. They may find some Ormecs there.
Well, we may need to be a little bit more present for that as well. You see, Pine, when I woke up now over 10 years ago, it was in a facility somewhere in the mountains in Almar. And I wonder if we might be approaching that, if it's that very one.
Are you anxious to return to the place of your birth?
I don't know what to expect. In a way, I'm drawn to it. There's a question mark there, and I feel like there might be answers. But answers to what? I'm not even sure if I have the questions to go with said answers. I do feel drawn to it. I feel like it might be a place that might have considerable amount of information, and potentially there might be still a large quantity of Ormecs that could still be there. They were waking up, not just me, but dozens of others.
If they were waking up dozens of others, wouldn't they already be awake, though?
Well, yes, I would imagine so, but perhaps they kept records of where they went, what their functions were, or where they sourced the Ormecs from. It could be a key to finding locations throughout Pavantis.
More information is always useful, especially if we're looking for any kind of ancient facility they may have found under the city of Almar itself.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think there's a lot that we don't quite understand, like For example, the statue in the bay, with its strange red eyes at night that would seem to glow. You know, there was no base to it, there's no entrance to it, but there's something about it that seems perplexing. And I don't think we'll learn anything until we go to Almar itself eventually.
I think that's as good a lead as any. We can go to Almar itself and we can poke around. We can try to find... Again, I'm very interested in the facility that we were informed of under the city of Almar itself. But I think that this other facility, Ebby, where you came from, I think there may be answers, maybe resources, and maybe more of your kind, who were maybe even waiting to be awoken when the shattering happened. This facility, was it modern? Was it built by the Almarians? Or was it ancient? Or was it a combination of the two?
I would have to say it was some sort of a combination. It felt like a fortress. I remember that the room that I was in had this large, multicolored, crystalline kind of array, and there were these cables that were connecting us to the array. It was the way that they were awakening many of the Ormex that were in the facility. I was able to push my way through and escape and crawl down, the walls of this fortress and kind of flee into some of the surrounding forests and mountains. So I didn't stick around long enough to ascertain much at that point in time. And, obviously at that time I had just awoken, so it was all new for me.
That must have been so confusing, so disorienting.
It certainly was.
Well, I am very interested in heading there if Nari, Rousse, if you would agree.
I think that's a good place to start our investigation.
So, the city of Almar or the city of Kelta?
Well, the facility west of the city of Kelta.
When we go and investigate this tower, we need to come with as much knowledge as we can.
Again, I mean, my hunch is, and this is, just an educated guess, a hypothesis, is that the Almarians found the sleeping Ormex under their city, and in their attempts to enslave them were conducted at a facility far away from the city, and that would be this one here in Kelta. So, if there are records surviving, or if there are still even personnel there, they may be able to point us to the facility in Almar, which may lead to more answers to our questions.
I think it's a good place to start, for sure.
As you are flying towards the city of Almar, and then you have this kind of discussion about going to the facility to the west of Kelta. Instead, you change the direction of the Allele Eagle slightly, heading a little bit further north. And you know that I imagine you have some kind of a map. This will add on almost a whole nother day of travel from the city of Almar. And as you look at the map, you guys can't help but realize that the city-states of Rocolia, this former Almarian province, is massive. It is very, very large. 3 times as big as the former province of Arkelvy. You sail through the air over the Almarian Sea. You get to the point where the Almarian Sea and the Sapphire Sea join together. And at this point, it's almost 4 days of travel. Part of that has been over this massive island that you are pretty sure used to be a part of the Almarian province, but it's now its own standalone island. As you sail past the island and then again over water, you can now see late in the day on day 4, you can see a city. It's a small city. You see that it is this city that is built right on the water of the Sapphire Sea. And it is relatively small. There's a river that kind of comes down from the west and then cuts through the city. There is a wall that is around the outside of the city. And on the outside of the city walls, you see farmlands to the north. You see some some villages to the west and to the south. You see forest beyond that. And you also see a very large cathedral of some kind. It's more less a cathedral and more like an abbey. There are outbuildings. There is a wall. It looks very fortified. It is like a fortified abbey or monastery that is just a little bit further west of the city of Calta. And as you have a bird's eye view, you can see that to the southwest of Calta, in part of the forest, you can see there's a small clearing. And in that clearing, there is a massive structure in disrepair and in terrible shape. The roof has caved in. The stones are falling over, but you recognize the shape of some kind of a religious building. As you get closer to the city of Calta, you actually can see that the eastern side of the city, it looks like at one point it was actually bigger. As you look down through the water, you can see the remains of a city wall and of houses and buildings that are now, because of the shattering, underwater. Are you guys stopping in Calta? Or are you guys going to sail on past and try to find the facility from the air?
I think it might help to go down and ask some questions of people. Hey, we're looking for a facility. Do you know anybody here work there? Know where it is or anything?
Yeah, I think we have to stop there.
We also do have a good view from the sky. So I don't know. It might be disguised from the sky, though, because probably a pretty important facility that would have been disguised.
I feel like we should stop.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts to stop.
Plus, I want to see Drown Town.
Drown
Town.
Making my way downtown.
Have you guys not looked at the map yet on the wiki?
I looked at the map. I thought it was hilarious.
You guys get closer and closer to the city of Calta, and then deciding to take a break and get off the ship for a little bit, maybe gather some intelligence here in the city that is apparently closest to this missing facility. You land the Allele Eagle in the water over what used to be homes and residences, and you land next to one of these docks, these new piers that stick out in the water. And as you lash the Allele Eagle to the side of this dock, we are going to stop there for tonight. Welcome to Calta and the city-states of Racolia. You are in another country. Fantastic.
Yay!
Yay! You guys are world travelers.
Cola.
You know what you forgot to do in Marlek?
What?
You forgot to have us cross paths with the JV team.
I mean, I don't think you forgot that.
Oh, no, I did not forget to.
Pine Mrs. Burt.
Here we go. I'm just going to let you guys in, all of our listeners in on a little something. I have a document that I keep track of. And it's, at this point, this document, this is a new one. It's called Chapter 6 Happenings. And in the city of Marlek, I thought that we would be spending a night in Marlek. And there are 4 different inns in Marlek. So I have listed, Pessimist's Pint. What'll happen there? Oh, this and this and this and this and this. Oh, the Ruby Window? What will happen there? This and this and this and this. So, because you guys took off, you may have actually gathered some information about the JV team, but you didn't stick around. You didn't ask any questions. You didn't go anywhere where they would have been. So it's all good. It's all good. It's important that we, the players, know that the JV team is still around and still doing some good. Anyway, if you guys like what we're doing, go ahead, go leave us a rating and a review. Come join our Discord and talk with us. Let us know how you think we're doing. Only if it's good. I don't like criticism, only positive.
Please don't be mean about our work.
Yes. We do this because we love it. Anyway, go check out our Patreon if you guys want to see some of these maps that I keep talking about and describing. If you want to see the Temple of Lord Laremi, if you want to see what Calta looks like from a bird's eye view, that is on the wiki. So go check that out. Also, don't forget FanX is coming up. Anyway, until we get together next time, we hope you have a pretty fabulous time.